In coma, it is a state when you lose the first three senses, but you still hold on to the sense of sight. Mentally, there is alertness in sight. And sound, you still can hear the sound. And you have not left the body. You stay in that limbo state for a longer time. Sense of action is completely frozen. The body is frozen, but you can hear what people are saying. They want to respond, they cannot respond. This is very close, very similar to death experience. When you die, what happens to you? First, the mind withdraws from the five senses with its impressions. Sense of touch goes away. Then, taste goes away. Then smell goes away. These three things goes away. It carries only the two senses along with it still active, sound and sight. Like you are on the hot air balloon and you see everything happening down there. You can't do anything about the traffic that's happening there. You just see, oh, there is a traffic jam. But you are in the hot air balloon, you keep moving. So first 3 days is intense, and then after the 3 days or 3 nights, the soul, when it starts getting adjusted to the other realm, it keeps moving away from this. Once leave the body, then the time zone changes. 6 months is day and 6 months is night. 1 whole year is 1 day. Very few souls, they are so earthborn, they don't go for a long time. They stick on here. Very few. 0.1%, you can say. So the last rites in the Hindu tradition is something so fantastic. Because the person is still can hear, they tell him, you have lived a grand life. Your body is made up of 5 elements. Let the earth element go back to the earth, water element go back to water, fire will dissolve in fire, air goes into air element, and you are light and you merge in the universal light. That's where you have come from. You have no blemish, you have no sin, you have no impressions, you are just pure joy. You are love incarnate. Go back to your source. May you be free, may you be free, may you be free. Bless this whole creation. You are free. You need nothing now. Go. From there, bless everybody. And this is what the mantras are chanted. Such a relief. Wow. Somebody at that time, moment said, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are not the thoughts. You are neither this, you are not that. You are not this, you are not this. You become free of this, you become free of that. You go to a place of total freedom. Total freedom. Usually, people, when they are nearing to their death, they lose interest in food. Some lose interest in food. Some don't. Some crave more food towards the end of life. In that case, within those 10 days, it's good to feed some people the food they were very fond of. So when they smell those food and those things, their spirit becomes, okay, like I have had this food. Give them some sort of relief. Within the 10 days, that's done. Many times, seekers, when you meditate, you find, oh, nothing is happening to me. Meditation is not happening. You know why? Some of those merits are being passed down to your forefathers. It is something that you have to, there is no escape from it. When you meditate, a portion of your meditation, a portion of that merit, whenever you do anything good, you give charity, that good vibes are passed on. Those who gave you the body. Somebody gave you the body. And because of that only you are doing everything that you are doing. So, to that person, an amount of merit that what you do, gets automatically transferred, like inheritance. Like in this world, when somebody passes on, dies, then you inherit, no? Automatically all their loans or their earnings just falls on your head, right? In the same way, in the subtle also, these things get transferred. Just before going to bed, just have a thought, just think very strongly about something. In the dream also same thought will come up in it. And as soon as you wake up in the morning, that will be your first thought. Whatever is the strongest impression in the mind, that persists. When a person, when he's dying with all the memories of chicken and chicken and chicken. His consciousness with the strongest impression at the moment of death, that was chicken. His mind, soul gets into that faulty form. The last days of life is much more important than the whole life. To emphasize this, in India there are many stories. A very enlightened saint, a rishi, was on the bank of a river meditating, and he saw a young deer in the water. So he jumped in and saved the deer. It had hurt its leg and he cared for it. And then he got so attached to the deer. When he died, he became a deer. This is the only instance where an enlightened person, it's said almost it's impossible for a liberated man to retrieve back into an animal body. It's one of the impossibilities. And this example, Jada Bharat, is quoted throughout, just to tell you that last impression is most important, that even he became a deer. Your strongest cravings and your strongest fear and aversion determines your next life. Rats are born as cats. They are not born as dogs. Some animals are afraid of only some other animals. Whichever animal they are afraid of, that is the next body for them. Because the strongest fear is the last impression in the mind. And that gives rise to the next birth. More than father and mother, the grandparents are attached to the kids. So when they leave the soul, they will be born to them. Usually this happens. That's why they keep the same name also. You know, the kings usually used to give the names of the grandfather to the grandchild. George the Fifth and George the Seventh, and this tradition has come from Vedic times. Because the most attachment for a person is with grandchildren in old age. You are born in the same family, to the same, because of your attachment, because your world is limited. You are not open to everybody in the world. The attachment is so strong within the same family, or if someone has a deep aversion towards somebody, they are born to them. Different things work with certain voltage. iPad can plug in with only certain voltage. If it's too high voltage, this will break. Similarly, these bulbs are all of certain definite voltage. Fridge is of definite voltage. Torch cell works with certain amount of electricity. Similarly, in the subtle body and causal body's combination, each soul gets certain amount of voltage, energy with it. When a man, woman meet, that moment of conception, the energy that they have brings that type of soul into the planet. The union of man and woman determines what type of soul is going to come, which voltage soul can come there. Suicide is like saying, I'm so cold, and removing all your jackets. It's like a child wants to go to sleep, but it is crying so hard. You want to sleep, but you don't want to sleep, and so you cry. Similarly, you are so cold, instead of taking more blankets on you, you are removing all your clothes off. So this is exactly suicide. But suicide does not get that person out of the misery for which he is committing suicide. In fact, it remains with them for a longer time. Then they come back again. They have to be born again. When you are rid of all the cravings and aversion, do you still come back? Yes, then you come back out of compassion. And even then you come back as a free person, and you want to do something, you do it in the world and go.